Get Heavy Podcast, hosted by Craig Casamas and John Scheimer.
Going.
Good, man. Welcome to the podcast, eh? Look at our new little setup here.
This is our new little setup.
We got our first actual live human coming in.
He's coming in. It's going to be good. Ra Diaz from Suicidal Tendencies. He is the most recent bass player. He is a fucking awesome dude. I think he has a great story. He's born and raised in Chile, South America, and he's one of those kids. The story seems to be he busted his ass.
It's like literally the true American dream, dude. You know what I mean? Like
from the South American dream.
Yeah.
The true South
Well,
American
I mean, you know,
dream.
to get here to fucking work your way up to be into that, you know what I mean? Like that's amazing, especially if that's like a goal you have, you know what I mean? Like that's incredible, dude.
I kind of relate to stuff. I relate to people like that because I've been able to, and you know, we both have been able to put our mind to things and pull it off.
Right.
Go like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing that doesn't matter really to anyone else but us.
Yeah.
And pull it off. And him probably saying, you know, I mean, think about all of the millions of thousands of people that are out there playing, going like, I'm gonna play one day in this band.
Yeah, man. It's amazing. I mean, there's a comedian, Joey Diaz, he's Cuban. He always talks about that immigrant mentality, dude. And it's just so fucking strong. Like it totally is what drives people to fucking follow. It's weird because Americans have such a hard time finding the American dream, yet immigrants seem to find it so much faster.
Well, because
you know what I mean? Maybe because they understand what they're gaining or losing or came from.
They know what a real struggle is.
Right. Touche.
They know what it means to to have hot water.
Right.
To not have hot water.
Fucking toilets.
To not have hot water. To be like grateful of having fucking hot water. If there's one thing that 90 Day Fiance has made me realize in like recent times is like, you know, again, I try to really like take myself out of the bullshit of trying to talk shit about stuff like that. But like the few seasons that I saw, a couple of the girls, when they came over, they were like,
what?
There's hot water.
Yeah. No, it's amazing, man.
Like there's hot water. Like that's what they were blown away by. And it's really easy to forget. It's really easy to, you know, like we say, street lights, streets, paved roads.
Yeah.
You know, a form of order. God forbid the new order, you know.
The new order.
God forbid the order. But it's just it's something that we take for granted.
100%. Yeah.
And I think I'm really looking forward to hearing his story.
Me too. Yeah. I mean, I love the fact that someone, you know, puts their mind to something, does the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does the fucking work for it and gets it, dude. I mean, it's just so cool.
Yeah.
But
so he's coming on the show today, and it's the day that we're actually filming. It's his birthday.
Yep.
Yesterday, from the day of filming, yesterday was Psycho Maiko's birthday from Suicidal, the singer.
Right.
So now it's Ra's birthday. So we have Ra in. We're at Fatty Vegan. Doing the damn thing.
Doing the damn thing.
Exactly. Feel like, hey, we're hanging.
Some podcasts, right, before?
Yeah. Not many though. Like
I saw you on the one with oh man, what I just forgot his name again. Remember?
I can't remember.
Ethan.
Yeah. That was crazy.
That was like super weird to me.
How'd you get on? Did he ask you on that?
Well, we like at some point we started like following each other on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and are we on?
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. We're recording.
We're just recording. Yeah. We'll just
so just kind of right up on the mic a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At some point, actually, it's better without the headphones.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, at some point, maybe like I want to say like a year ago or like a year and a half, we started like following each other on Instagram. Because like I started like working out and all that, and he's been doing that forever now. And I don't know, like, you know, from time to time he would like one of my posts or whatever. I would like comment on something, stuff like that. And then one day he just sent me a message. He's like, hey, dude, like, I love your story. I would like to, like, get you on the podcast. And I'm like, what?
Is that kind of the first one you've done? Like podcast
I mean, I've
kind of?
done like, like other like friends and I did a podcast with like Monster Energy and stuff like that. But,
okay.
But me and Ethan, we've never even met in person.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
It was like, and then he's like, this like super awesome actor. And I remember seeing him when I was a kid, like Mallrats and all that.
Oh, yeah,
Right,
dude.
right.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies ever.
Is it?
And yeah, so it was like bizarre to me, and I was like, dude, you get guests that are like professional, like I don't know, dietitians and like what is it called, like personal trainers and stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna tell. I can tell you where to get like donuts or something, But,
Yeah.
and he was like, no, dude, like the idea is to have different people and normal people and athletes and whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm down. I'll go.
Well, when it comes to like weight loss and stuff, right? Like I've always been a pretty big dude. I lost 80 pounds
Wow,
like
congrats.
a few years ago, right? Keto, fucking
Yeah.
intermittent fasting, all this shit. I was like almost 300 pounds at one point. And then I lost 80, got down to like 220. Never felt better in my life, dude.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then over like I had an insane couple of years that I literally stress ate like 50
Yeah, that's
pounds
the
back,
thing,
you know?
yeah.
But that's what
Hey,
I
it
learned is that
happens to
keto
everybody,
diet,
yeah.
like it's great, but it's so hard to maintain, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I pretty much I wouldn't say I did like some sort of diet. I
Yeah.
just kind of like started working out
Right.
and nothing crazy. Like I will just go like the gym every day, and what I do is just like a 30-minute workout, and sometimes I will do twice, so it's like an hour a day, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like diet, I would just
Try to eat healthy.
yeah. Like
Yeah,
I will go
it's
for like
crazy how much of the
lightest
eating.
option that I can find in any situation that I am.
Right.
I will go, and then it's not like I didn't like eat shit that probably I didn't need to eat, but I mean, as long as you know what you're doing, I guess it hasn't been that hard. Honestly.
Have you made a lot of progress? Like when did you start
I
that
mean,
kind
I
of stuff?
started like 2 years ago,
Okay.
but I was close to like 400 pounds.
Oh wow. Oh, so you're
I'm
you're
short.
down 100 plus probably at this point.
More than-
Something around that.
Wow.
I'd say more than that.
That's amazing, man.
And now like during quarantine and all that, I gained a little bit back. Like,
yeah, it's tough,
now
dude.
I'm getting like kind of back to like getting closer to where I was like a year ago. But yeah, like before that, I was a mess.
It's a trip, dude.
Did joining Suicidal Tendencies force you to kind of like, because there's so much
It didn't
running around on
force
stage that
me.
you're kind of like, how am I going to keep up?
Yeah, well, I mean, I always, even at my biggest or whatever, I still will like jump and run around and all that. And sometimes I would get like comments like after the show, it's like, dude, I didn't know you could move like that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Which at first is like, oh, awesome. And then at some point you go like,
You're like-
it's kind of shitty that that's the impression, that
Yeah,
people
yeah.
have.
They're like, oh, look at the fat guy. Can
Oh, the
do
fat
it."
guy can
exactly,
move,
you know,
yeah.
Fat
But
guy can
I mean,
jump.
it never really like bothered me to a degree. But I wouldn't say the band. I never felt like forced to do it, but at some point it was like, yeah, I gotta do something about it. you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Right.
Especially more than the actual show, more with the traveling and trying to get better sleep and
You're just trying to be on a good cycle. And like,
Yeah,
on like
yeah.
the road life, it's hard to get on a good
Yeah.
cycle as it is. So eating
and,
healthy.
and also I don't know. Well, you probably been through the same experience. People think that we are in a private jet and
Yeah.
and
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
5-star
That's the
hotels
funniest
and all that, and it's
misconception,
like,
man.
dude, no, not at all. Like I get there super early and I help load the gear. We do all the sound check, and
Yeah.
sometimes we don't even get hotels, or I don't get a hotel.
Yeah.
And so it's not as fancy as some people think.
No,
It's-
yeah.
Yeah, the
I mean,
misconceptions
I love
are
every
incredible.
second of it,
Right.
I'll kind of rather. I've lived the experience of like not having to do anything and just wait for the show, and I don't like it.
Oh,
Well, yeah, 'cause
really?
It's
Yeah.
like there's so much downtime in
Yeah, I
that
don't know.
time. I mean, there's a bunch of downtime anyways in touring when you're
Yeah.
loading and playing and all that stuff, and when
But
you're
I
just
re-
playing, it's like you kind of are just like, okay,
Yeah,
you
like
know.
I imagine that like time off before a show is pretty much like being in lockdown quarantine like now
Yeah.
for a
Yeah,
year.
man. Yeah.
It's like you're sitting by yourself in a hotel room, not doing anything.
just sitting there
Yeah.
going like, I can't really go do anything because I
Yeah.
have to wait for this.
And
I
so-
don't want to go because I have to wait for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then sometimes you're in a place you don't even know, and it's like, maybe I'll get lost, whatever,
Yeah.
So I just stay at the venue and hang out with the other bands or watch other bands, or sometimes I just stay at the merch booth and do merch, whatever. Like, I think it's cooler.
That was
dude, it's the people don't understand. I did a good amount of touring back in the day, but nothing major. It was grimy shit with me and John, sleeping in the van, the whole deal, you know what I mean?
I still do it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But people do not understand. It's like, 15-hour drive, you set up, maybe you're there half a day early, and then you set up and you play for your hour and a half, and then you pack up and then on to the next,
2019, I think it was like maybe like June or July, like in the summer, I did a tour, like kind of like a U.S. tour with Billy from Biohazard. And
with his solo band?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because I recorded that record, and then he asked me, hey, are you available to like do this tour? I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll do it. And
that was touring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and like we had a bus, and it like broke down, and at some point we had to like almost like escape the bus. So like we had some trouble with like the driver and all that. So we just like rented like a U-Haul or whatever, and then we couldn't fit everybody in it.
Right.
So I just rode in the trailer.
Oh, no.
You rode in the trailer?
Yeah, just like one day.
Right.
Until we like got another van and stuff. But I'm like, they were like, how are we gonna do this? I'm like, I'll just go in the trailer.
Yeah, man.
And two of us, or was it two or three, just like sat on some amps, and we're just hoping that we don't just crash or
dude.
Please don't. Please, someone see us and not hit the trailer.
Yeah.
Please, someone don't hit the trailer.
Please,
you gotta do what you gotta
please.
do. It's it's rock and roll, dude.
I did an entire California tour once in a lawn chair in the back of a van.
That was with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was literally like we had 5 seats. We were supposed to take someone else's van, and of course their van breaks down the day before, right? So I take my piece of shit, like 1990 Dodge Ram van, and dude, we didn't have enough chairs, so I was like, hey man, we got some lawn chairs, no seatbelts, we're good.
Done tours. We did a tour with a band when I was living in Mexico. It wasn't even like a shitty band. We did it in a little car.
Yeah.
Like legit. It was like 4 of us in a little car with like,
with
the
equipment
back here and all that. And
with equipment too?
Probably no
well, not the amp, but just like the guitars.
Just the guitars and stuff. But that's, dude.
But still, it's like, and no hotels, nothing.
Oh,
we were just like,
praying that someone is going to be nice to you that night.
But in a way, I'd rather have those experiences than just like.
Right. Well, you'd rather build up. Instead of just be given
like those are the ones that you remember.
Well,
that's why like, we're talking about those right now.
Right.
Like if you're at, I don't know, at 4 seasons every day, so at some point you don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah. You're just like, wait a minute. So the money being spent on this hotel could be going in my pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or anything else. We could be having band dinner.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Do a little team building, band dinner. Yeah, definitely the rough DIY touring is the most memorable.
Yeah.
Those are especially in like big situations when it all of a sudden gets crammed down to this thing. You're like, oh shit.
And that's when you like legit.
And that's when you learn. That's when you see
you
what
learn,
it's all about.
And then you actually get to like meet people and see places and all that.
Right.
Because sometimes we just stay at the venue, and it's like okay, we're guessing there's shit around, so let's just walk for hours.
There's lots of times when I get to venues. I'm the tour manager, so like I'm definitely like focused on being there. But there's also plenty of times, as you know, where I could, there's hours where I could be gone. I just can't do it. I'm that guy. You know what I mean? Like I'm within a 2-block radius of the venue just because I'm just like.
Oh, well, because at any point something can happen and you have to like head back.
Exactly. So
I always like stay at the venue, and if they have like a shower, even better, and I just take a shower.
How nice is that, dude? Right? How nice is a shower after a show, man? It's incredible. I remember we played at the Livery, right, and they had that shower back there, which is it was a small little theater thing here, and like we're not shower people, like, and one of the guys in the band, Jesse. One of the bands we played with, after he played, it was a massive, it was a big 300-400 people packed. People were flying off the rafters and shit. But after the show, he runs and jumps in the shower, and he came out, and I was like, I've never been more jealous of anyone in my life. Like the
Yeah.
balls on you to go take a
After
fucking
show-
shower right
after
now,
show
dude.
showers are-
That's
after show
amazing,
showers
you
are
know?
the best.
It's getting to the point like we did it right before like the whole lockdown and all that started. I did another tour with Billy in Europe, the Persistence tour. That was like late January or something, and it got to the point that those cities that we were going, I already knew like what time and where the laundromats were.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And
Right,
we would
right.
get there like at 6 a.m. And it's like snowing and freezing.
Oof.
And I would wake up because every time the bus stops, I wake up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where are we? Okay, Munich. Oh, what venue? Backstage. Okay, so if we walk 3 blocks to the left, there's a laundromat that opens at 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
For real. And I would
Yeah.
grab everybody's laundry and just go and do it. You know, like.
And you're on that third machine steals
Do you-
your fucking money.
Do you ever fluff and fold, or do you do it yourself on tour?
I do.
Half and half.
I do my laundry. I do sometimes other people's laundry. I enjoy doing laundry.
You enjoy doing laundry?
Do you really?
Okay, wow.
It's like
That's
even
funny, man.
even here at home, it's like I
Right.
love doing laundry.
It reminds you of simple times,
I don't know.
I guess.
I just enjoy it. I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
But even the other day, I was with a friend and we were talking, and I'm like, you know how you know when you're getting old is when your dream is like having your own like laundry, like a washer at home and dryer. You
Hell
know, like,
yeah, man.
I'm like, or I'm getting old, or I've been watching way too much like HGTV this time. You know?
Oh, dude.
So I don't
That's
know,
crazy.
but I've always enjoyed doing laundry. I don't
Right.
know.
So you mentioned you were playing in a band in Mexico. You're originally from Chile.
Yeah.
How did you get from Chile to Mexico, and now we're here? Let's go over the route. How did you? So you're in Chile. Like,
yeah, and I
what-
was doing the exact same thing, playing with bands and recording and all that. And then at some
Punk
point,
bands, hardcore bands. Like, what are you playing? What are you doing?
everything. Like I played hardcore, I played metal.
How is the scene
I
down there
played
in
on
Chile?
a like kids TV show. You
Oh,
know,
really?
Like, yeah, like no, there's it like
Legit scene down there.
yeah, it's like great musicians, amazing bands and all that. It's just that it's so small that at some point, like I don't know, if you get somewhat successful in a couple of months, you might have done it all.
Oh, really?
You know, and then everything is like kind of like repetitive, and so
Right.
at some point I was like, like I love Chile, you know, I love my family, I love my friends, the bands that I play with, the musicians there, but at some point I was like, this is not like fulfilling me.
Yeah,
Right.
you gotta get out.
So when
Yeah.
like I want to go back, like you're an incredible bass player, dude.
Thank
Like
you.
when did you get the bug to play music? Like was it the punk scene? Was it just family members? Like what was it
I
that
have
got you
a
playing
few,
music?
like family members that are musicians, but I don't know. I mean, I guess the first like direct like contact with it was maybe my grandpa, who just passed like 2 weeks ago. Like he would like listen to a lot of music, and he would think that he can sing like tango and shit.
Oh, okay.
But he was always like playing music or singing or whatever. But then eventually, when I was maybe like 9 or 10, my brother got like an electric guitar,
Mm-hmm.
and he started like I don't know, listening to like, you know, Nirvana and Guns N' Roses and all those like early 90s like
Oh, yeah.
stuff, and
right.
you know, like the early like Chili Peppers and all that. And eventually I wanted to play something, and I got like one of those like small like kids like drum kits,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I liked it and all that. But then eventually, I don't know, it just
Wasn't you?
and then we were moving from a house to an apartment, and I'm like, well, I won't be able to play drums. And I always liked bass and bass players. Like I always loved Flea, from how he plays to like, you know, how crazy he is, how he moves and all that.
Oh yeah.
And you know, Trujillo, Infectious Groups and all that. And I'm like, yeah, you know, bass it is. You know?
All right.
So I got a bass, and well, I mean, I basically for like a year I asked my parents to get me a bass.
Right. Right.
And eventually I got it, and then for a full summer, me and some friends, we went into like lockdown pretty much, and we rehearsed like 8 hours a day for a whole summer.
Just like learning how to play instruments
We,
together, kind
like,
of thing.
Till this day, even if we haven't seen each other in forever, we can probably play any single Red Hot Chili Peppers record you want.
Really? Because you
From
have
start
like
to finish.
you I mean, you have the funk, dude. Like when I watch you play, like you got the funk down, and I immediately went to Flea and the Chili Peppers and stuff like that. You know, but
dude, we had a
I
band
wondered
that-
if there was like any. And I don't want to be ignorant and call it mariachi music down in Chile, but you know,
Not
tango,
really.
all
I
that.
mean,
you
some
know,
people
like,
listen to it, but there aren't like
Yeah.
mariachi bands. But
yeah, but
but
I mean,
yeah.
that's all. You know, those
yeah.
bass lines are nuts.
No,
You know
but
what I mean?
this,
Like and
this
all that
band was
stuff.
all like, we would play like all Chili Peppers, like from like 84 to like 95.
There you
kinda.
go. Nice, man.
So you could be a Red Hot Chili tribute band, but be called the Red Hot Chile
Yeah.
Peppers.
Oh,
the Ra Hot Chili Pepper.
The Red Hot Chile.
oh no, dude.
Pepper.
I did a video for like Bass Player magazine like a few years ago that I played like a bunch of like Flea's bass solos for his birthday, like in a minute and a half or something.
Okay.
Like one from like each record. And yeah, that video was like everywhere and all that. So I mean, till this day, I love the Chili Peppers, and some people hate them. Whatever, I don't care. I think it taught me a lot. So you know.
yeah.
And I played one show with like Chad Smith and stuff. So it's always in my heart.
That's amazing.
So you
man.
so you and your friends start playing in Chile. What did you guys start a band at that point, or did you guys just play Chili Pepper songs?
Well,
kind of a
that was
thing?
like
That-
my first like cover band, whatever.
Right,
like when
right.
we were in high school, and we still got to play in different cities and open for like big bands and stuff. Even just playing covers and whatever. Then eventually I ended up going to like jazz school for like 6 years, and then I started like. I started and also I joined some other bands like more like kind of like metal and hip hop, and I played for a while in like a super big hip hop band over there, and eventually I was like, I also did like a lot of like pop sessions for like singers and stuff, and
right.
So you were making your way through the music scene through Chile.
yeah,
like
I'll
you had
always
kind of
say,
maxed
I'll
out what
play
you could do there.
anything.
You
I
think?
don't care the genre, who it is, whatever. I'll play anything as
Right.
long as it's like fun people.
Right.
Right.
If it's like cool musicians and people that I get along and we're gonna laugh and have a good time, I don't give a shit what it is.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's amazing how much like people that aren't really involved in the music industry or in the music scene don't realize how much it is. You have to just be a good dude.
Yeah.
Or a good chick or a good person. You know what
I
I
mean,
mean? Like,
you have to be someone
you just have
that
to be
you can
someone
be.
that everyone wants to hang out with.
I mean, you have to be
Right.
someone that you can be around people for a month on a bus.
Exactly.
Or in a
Exactly.
van, or in the
Yeah,
back of
you
a
know,
trailer.
like-
That's what that's what
Totally.
80% of touring is.
It is.
Yeah.
Man.
Being
It's the hang.
downtown.
It's the hang.
a person that people want to hang out
Yeah,
with.
and then I mean, when you're on tour, like the show is an hour of the day.
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
less. Sometimes you have a 45-minute set, whatever.
Right.
Right.
You know, so the rest
And you
of
got
the day, you are just
23 and
with
a half
your
hours. to-
8 or 10 people or friends, whatever. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, well, eventually I was like, I want to try something different. And like, usually the next step is Mexico because it's like still Spanish and a huge country with a bigger market and a million bands and
more
people.
places to
yeah.
play.
So I did that, and I've never been to Mexico before, and some friends were like, dude, like, I knew people living there, and they were like, dude, it's not as easy as you think, It took me a while to, like, get a gig, meet people, and I'm like, well, I don't know. Worst case
Try
scenario,
it,
just come
man.
back to Chile, whatever.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Trying.
And I got there, like, on a Tuesday, and by Saturday, I was playing already on, like, national TV.
Hell yeah, man.
All by luck. Like,
What was
yeah,
your
yeah.
first like
I got
apparent?
there.
What was it?
I got there, and then like next day there was like a show at a club, and I knew someone playing there. It was like a Chilean artist. And I'm like, I'll just go and hang out. And I was like wearing like a Public Enemy like hat. And at some point I went like outside of the club to like take a breather or whatever. And this girl comes out and she's like, oh dude, I love your hat. And I'm like, okay, cool, awesome. And we started like chatting. And she's like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm a bass player. Oh, where you from? Chile. Oh, and she goes like, oh, I know this and that band in Chile. And I'm like, oh, I used to play with them. We started, and she ended up being like a rapper over there. She was like pretty well known and all that. And we just kind of like hit it off. And then like she said like, oh, so are you playing here? And I'm like, no, I just got here like yesterday. It's like, well, I'm doing like a TV thing this weekend. You want to like come and play bass? I'm like, sure, whatever. I haven't heard it or anything. I'm like, yeah, sure, awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
And then like next day she sent me like a couple of songs and I liked it and we did it. And by that time I didn't even have my bass with me.
Wow.
So
really?
all I had was like I traveled there with just like a tiny bass. I mean, it's still a bass, but it's like a kid's version.
Like a
of it.
scaled version.
So
yeah.
the video of that performance somewhere on YouTube, and I look like a giant playing with a tiny bass, and I'm playing like a bass solo and all that. Cause she was like super cool. She was like out of nowhere, like on the spot. She was like, "Okay, round the bass, play a solo." I'm like, "Shit,
fuck yeah!"
You know, it was cool. Like, and you know, and I also heard DJ till this day. We still like yesterday I recorded 2 songs for him because he now started his own band and like blew up there and all that. Like, so it's cool. It like out of nothing, it became like a cool thing.
That's amazing. Right place, right time,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
also you have the talent to back it up. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
she never heard me.
Well, I know, but
Yeah,
you know the fact that
she just
you
liked
can
me, I
tell.
guess.
That's the cool thing about music is like it's a true art. Like you can tell if someone knows what they're doing immediately,
also,
right?
Well,
I mean,
we had like
know.
some.
It's a
legit
vibe.
it is a
mutual-
vibe. Yeah.
It's a vibe.
And then
you
we
know?
had like some legit musicians, like mutual friends. So it was like, okay, I guess you are.
They can vouch for you.
Yeah,
Kinda,
But yeah, for most of my career, I guess it's all been based on me personally, like meeting someone and we just kind of like get along. And
Wow.
I mean, I can't tell you how many. I mean, as you know, there's so many stories in the music industry of just like, I don't know. I just asked, like, you know what I mean? I literally just like sent a text and like,
And it
all
worked.
of a sudden I was working with him. You
like
know,
sometimes, you know, it's been people reaching out to me like, hey, how do you contact this person or this and that? And I'm like, well, message them. He's like, well, but I don't want to ask. And well, then you're never gonna.
Then you're
You ain't
never
gonna get
I mean,
shit,
what's
dude,
the worst thing that can happen? They're gonna say no, and
Yeah.
you just look for another option, you know. And
Yeah.
we've done stuff like that, you know, like, oh, we want to do a collaboration with this person, but we don't want to email them because like the label or whatever. And I'm like, why don't you just like, you have their number? Why don't you just call them?
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
be
You know,
like,
he's like,
hey.
oh, but I don't want to be that guy. He's like, well, if you want him to join it, do something with us. Like, you kind of have to, you know.
Right.
You got to put yourself out there, man. I mean, you really have to take a chance on yourself. You know. It's,
And sometimes it's, for the most part, I mean, at least in my case, it's always kind of like worked out. you know?
obviously.
You know,
I
like,
kind of roll in that same way of just like I've had a lot of things happen where I've just been like, hey, so what's up with this? You know what I mean? And they're like, really? Like, really? I'm like, oh, yeah, really? You know?
Or like simple conversations, you know, you can run into another musician, whatever. Say, oh, what are you been up to? I'm recording this. Oh, well, if you need some bass, let me know.
Yeah.
And just that, and then you never know. A week later, you guys say, hey, dude, so I finished a couple of songs. Will you be down to do this? Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
You know,
And
stuff
that's
like
a cool thing about being a good bass player, dude. Everyone needs a good bass player.
And also,
there are a million good
Of
bass
course,
players.
but
But
there's not a ton of great bass players.
it also adheres to the mentality of, you have the mentality of, like, when you get an opportunity, you're like, yeah, I'm going to take, like,
I'm very, it's good and bad because I'm
Well,
like horrible at saying no to things.
understandable, but also, like, at some, like, it's hard to
That's
get
how
to
I ended up here.
and that's how, and now you're here.
Welcome
Now
to the
he's
Get Heavy
here on his-
podcast.
I'm trapped here
welcome
now.
to Get Heavy.
We made you even come out on your birthday, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I forgot about it. He was like, well, how's Monday? And I'm like, oh, it's great. And then like next day, I'm like, oh shit, it's my birthday.
Yeah. Are you what, mid-30s or something?
37 now.
Right. So
Yeah.
I thought I was 33 for 2 years. And then you
This is a true
realize you're
story.
like, what the fuck, dude?
This is a true
Okay, I guess I'm
story.
35 today. I don't know.
Yesterday, I mean, not yesterday, last year. Was it last year? No, the year before, I think. I was like in Vegas. I went to see Dropkick Murphys for like St. Patty's Day. No, sorry, not Dropkick Murphys. Flogging Molly.
The
And-
other
yeah.
St. Patty's Day band, yeah.
And
Coast.
well, that show got canceled once I got there because they got caught in like some storm or whatever. on the
Oh,
road.
okay.
Actually, yeah, I did that tour. That was with like Face to Face.
Yeah.
And I did that tour in Fresno.
They got stuck in like Texas or
Yeah.
Colorado or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Either way, I was in Vegas and and I'm like, well, it's still my birthday, so I'm gonna do something. And then like I started celebrating, and I was with some friends, and he's like, yeah, happy like 35, whatever, or 36. I don't remember
Whatever you
exactly
are.
what. No. And then at some point, like I get like a text from my mom in Chile, and she goes like, happy 35. Let's say it was 35. And I'm
Right,
like,
right.
What? And I'm like, wow. And this is like embarrassing.
Oh, dude.
I Googled myself, like my own age.
You did?
And
How old am I?
And I was actually younger than what I was celebrating.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Hell yeah.
I
man.
think I was celebrating 36 when it actually was 35.
Oh, okay. That's amazing.
The mid 30s is
It's
when,
a blur, dude.
when that whole like, how old am I?
Yeah.
Oh, I've had to do the math like every year
Yeah,
since I
yeah.
turned 32, maybe. I've lost complete track. My wife told me I was, we get in an argument. She's like, "You're 35 years old, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Am I? Okay,
Yeah.
fuck, dude. I guess." And then I do the math. I'm like, "Hey,
I guess at
I'm
some
34,
point you just like,
man. What the
stop
fuck?"
counting. It's
Yeah.
like whatever. That's not
It's
really
it's
matter.
so unimportant, but
Right.
It's
I
don't know.
so obviously you're playing in Mexico. You make your way through the scene. How do you get here? What makes you get here? How do you land in Suicidal?
I was
You know
in
what
Mexico for 3 years. So the first year was like meeting people, meeting bands, meeting artists, producers, whatever. The second year was like work nonstop. Playing here, there. I started playing in like clubs, like regularly, like every Tuesday this club, every Wednesday this club, all that. And then the third year, it became more of like I need to get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Okay.
Like
You're gonna get caught.
it
You're
was
gonna
just
get-
like too much. Not like I was going crazy like with work, but it was just like the same circle every time,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I just need something
you
different.
get caught. You're like, I didn't leave Chile for this.
Yeah,
This
I mean,
this
I
was
was
a step. This was a
yeah.
step. You know what I mean?
And then eventually, during that time in Mexico, I started coming to the U.S. more often for just like the NAMM show or to play these couple shows, and
Did you have a sponsorship by then? Like when you started coming to NAMM and stuff? Like were you sponsored?
no, I
by
mean,
Grant?
I was like in good terms with a few brands.
Right,
and
right,
stuff, but
okay,
I wasn't like
yeah.
really like sponsored.
Okay.
Like I never signed anything or
Yeah,
whatever. It
yeah,
was more
yeah.
like, oh yeah, I like your shit and you like me, cool,
Yeah, yeah.
awesome, yeah.
That first initial
Yeah.
relationship. Okay.
And
yeah.
then eventually I just started like meeting people here and making like good connections or whatever. And everybody here was like, dude, you gotta like, move here and this is like where all the music you like is, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, but it's not easy legally and all that. And then eventually I was like, fuck it. And just pretty much grab a suitcase and one bass and came here. And
Wow, man.
I mean, I got it here. I didn't really have a place, or plan or anything. I bought a car, so I knew I could stay in the car if I needed to.
wow.
And then eventually, I through a friend, I landed like a room at a Chilean like priest's house.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I started staying there, and while I was meeting people, I started going to all the jam sessions. Eventually, I got to sub for a Japanese bass player that used to play at a church in like Inglewood. So I started doing the whole like church circles and all that.
Really? Are you a
Yeah.
religious guy? Like
Yeah, not really. I mean, in my own way.
it's just
I
a gig
guess,
kind of
you know?
though, right?
Yeah,
No, dude,
yeah.
I loved it. I
Yeah.
missed it, honestly. Like, I learned so much. Like, you never for a start, it's like something I've never done. Music and a genre that I never really listened to before.
Right.
And I legit went without even knowing what we were playing. Like, I got there, I sat down, I didn't know anybody.
Wow.
And, they would call songs, and I'm like, what key is this? And they would go like, I don't know, E flat. I'm like, okay, I'll just follow
just
you.
follow along, man.
And
That's
I just-
honestly like how
and I
church
just-
shit is kind
yeah,
of.
and I just made shit up, and it worked, and everybody loved it. And then they started like calling me for other churches, and those musicians in that church is, oh, I have this gig over there, and I would go with them. And I got very funny situations, like I don't know, like somebody will like turn around, like the keyboard guy is like, okay, this song starts with bass. It's like you, and I'm like, I've never heard this thing. And
They didn't even give you a book, like
and
no book
and
with
they would go
nothing?
like, it's like I would kind of like because sometimes they played the same song in different keys, so
Right.
it's like, oh, what key do you guys play this one in? And they would go like, oh, D, whatever, and I would just like start some sort of groove on D. And they would look me. They would like look at me, and we all start grooving. And everybody's dancing and singing, and it went great, And then I'm like, oh, what was the name of that song? Oh, this and that. I would like write it down, and then on my way home, like I looked it up, and it was like a ballad. And we just like started playing it,
spiced it up,
like we
dude.
started playing like a super funky version of it. You know, it's
You're spicing it up
but
for
it's
Jesus,
cool, you know,
dude.
because like that, like, taught me a lot to like listen what other people are doing and then to like improvise. Like I've done a million gigs, like even like before joining Suicidal, like at clubs here. I did one in like where is it, like Corona del Mar or something, like in Orange County or wherever that is. And it was like a few days before, and you know, this bass player that I never even met in real life, like over Instagram or Facebook, he's like, would you mind like subbing for me? And I'm like, no, dude, I'll do it right now. And they sent me a list of like 150 songs. And I'm like, shit. And then half of it was like things that, I don't know, me as a Chilean growing up in Chile never heard in my entire life. You know, like super, I don't know, like old school American covers.
Americana kind of stuff.
You know?
Yeah, oh boy.
And I'm like, shit. So I just sat down and all I did is like look up this song on YouTube and the key, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't
just
know,
get
this
it
song
kind of
is
in
in
your
A,
head.
this song is in E, whatever. And I just show up and make shit up. And it went great, and I ended up doing it for like 6 months or more.
That's amazing, man.
Just like making shit up.
So I grew up like in the church a little. Like I went to church. It was like a bunch of punk rockers. It was weird, but I used to play in the worship band, and John probably doesn't know this about me, but I used to play bass in the worship band. Like,
oh, that's
and,
awesome.
well, it was, but you know, I was super into it. You know what I mean? But like, it was an insane learning curve because it was like they would basically tell you like, hey, it's in C, fucking whatever,
And
you
then
know,
the other
and then
thing is,
like you might have a couple tabs or something you could go off of, but
church,
like
everybody's super good already.
Right.
yeah,
You know,
it's a
like
trip,
you get like,
dude.
I don't know, like a 5-year-old keyboard player, and he's amazing. You know?
Right,
He's
right.
like, you're like,
He's
fuck.
like,
Well, that's because of the Holy
Yeah.
Spirit. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah, but it was a trip, like getting on stage. That was some of my first times ever being on stage. Like I started out as a bass player, ended up being a guitar player, but it was a trip to like just be like, yeah, it's in G, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
what the fuck is G?
And
And I don't know this
first
song. You know what
time
I mean? Like, what the fuck?
The first
you know?
time I did that, the church gig, that I went like pretty much blind to it. I even had to like go and buy a shirt, you know, because I'm like, I don't have anything to wear to church. You know? I was like,
You're gonna wear your Mad Ball sweatshirt.
And
just show up in all suicidal.
I
gear.
did what
you
that was.
should have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I still,
dude.
when I joined Suicidal, I still played at church for a few more months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I loved it. And well, I had a Chilean friend that was like actually like staying with me like for that weekend. And he's like, I need to go and see this. And he like sat in the back, and he was like filming from the back. And I still have that video, and it's hilarious, dude.
We all have
like-
those friends.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm gonna go watch
I'm
that
gonna
train
see
wreck.
this.
Yeah.
And
for
then
sure,
like
dude.
like months later, like my mom visited, and she's like, I want to go there. and I'm playing, and I'm trying to like keep an eye on her, you know, because my mom doesn't speak English or anything. And I'm like trying to keep an eye on her, and then I don't see her. And I'm like playing, like, what the fuck? Where is she?
Yeah.
And I look around, and she's like in the back on the floor playing with all the little kids.
I'm not even paying attention at all.
And I'm like, this is
That's
awesome.
a mom, dude.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a mom. She's like,
A
oh,
tip-
he's fine up
A
there.
typical friend on the list.
Oh,
You get them in,
100%.
and then they don't even watch you play.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
at all.
they're at the bar.
It's like, I caught the last song. It was
and
cool,
then,
man.
Then
Thanks.
after the show, they come to me. He's like, "Hey, can you hook me up with some T-shirt for this chick I met?
Hey, you got any drink tickets back there?
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
man.
What's the deal with catering?
Yeah.
Do you get after show pizzas?
Yeah.
What's up
Where's
with
the
that
after show
chicken parm,
pizzas?
dude?
Oh my gosh. So you're doing the church gigging when you first move here. What year is this?
2000, like early 2013, like April or something like that.
Okay.
Are
So-
you, how long? Like, you're an English speaker, obviously. Like, did you learn this
I
on the way, or?
learned,
I'm sorry, I
by
didn't mean that.
myself, like when I was a kid.
That's amazing, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't like taught myself. I started like translating a lot of lyrics.
Okay, it was music,
And-
lyrics, and
yeah,
stuff. Wow.
like
yeah.
and I was also like, you know, back then you would have like write letters.
Right.
And I would write letters to like the Chili Peppers fan club and shit. yeah, for
Hell
real.
yeah, man.
And
That's awesome.
and stuff like that, you know, and so I kind of learned from that, and then I watched a lot of Seinfeld and Married with Children.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, if there's one thing I've learned about people that learn English as a second language, it's movies,
Yeah.
shows. That is like the universal thing that
Yeah.
everyone learns English.
The reason
That's amazing, dude.
the reason I curse so much is because I translated a lot of Tupac.
Yeah,
For real.
Yeah.
I'm fucking down with that.
No, I'm for it.
But yeah, and then eventually in school, like in high school, when you're like probably like 14 or something, there is actually like an English like class.
Yeah.
But by that time, I was already like more advanced than others.
So it was just like your drive to want to learn the lyrics, understand
Yeah, but
what
I mean,
they
it wasn't that
and
I was trying to like learn English. I was just kind of like curious about
what it is.
those
yeah.
things said.
Curious mind.
Right.
And then in the process, I guess I just ended up learning.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in
Mostly
2013,
Seinfeld,
you
though.
get here. 2013, you get here. You start jamming. How does the suicidal thing? Is it something
Well,
that like you wanted
yeah,
to
where-
do? What you went
I
after?
mean,
I
always
think there's other
wanted it.
steps. There's other steps before suicide.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
All
and,
right.
and
Let's hear
there's
it,
other
please.
steps before I even like met them here, because I first met them in 2007 when the first time they played in Chile. So I took pictures at their show as a photographer, because that was like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it was my job, but it was like a hobby that became kind of serious, and I did stuff for like magazines and radios and stuff like that, even for like Guitar World magazine and shit. But I met them and I hang out with them during those shows. There was like 2 shows, and I was kind of like the local dude they knew, because we were like connected on Facebook or email and stuff, because I always wrote to like the fan clubs and stuff.
Did you really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck
That's
yeah.
awesome.
You know?
No,
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
And so they kind of knew who I was, or at least they
knew a name and
they
a-
knew enough
yeah.
to like, at least if I show up, they were gonna like, talk
They-
to me at least.
Right.
So we ended up like, hanging out. I took some of them to like eat, show them around and stuff like that. And we always like stayed in touch. Then they went again in 2010. And this is funny because I had my ticket to go to Mexico, and I changed it when they announced the show, because it was like the day I was leaving, so I left the next day.
Yeah, because you would have been you just would have been like
Yeah.
hating life if you would have left.
Also,
the
it was
day.
Suicidal, Mars Volta, and Rage Against the Machine. So
Damn.
So we're like,
okay.
oh, shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like, yo, I'm
Yeah.
not. We're delaying that. A few
Rage,
days.
I mean,
Yeah.
Rage and Mars Volta is cool too. You know what I mean? Like,
so I hang out with them again that time, and like I was the whole time with them, like in the dressing room, backstage, catering, taking photos, sound check, everything.
oh, they let you be in the
Yeah,
whole,
yeah, I was
the whole
like
process.
kinda
Wow. Okay.
In the, I mean, not officially, but I kind of like invited myself into their crew.
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, the fact that I already knew a lot of people like in Chile, production and companies and all that, they would like just see me as, shit, you're cool.
Let you in.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
It's the typical like, oh, we know him. He
yeah,
must be
it's
fine.
like,
Not a Punisher. Not a
Yeah.
Punisher.
Yeah, so like it would be fairly kind of easy to like approach people, and and then we always just like stayed in touch, mostly with like Dean, the guitar player, and eventually I told him that I wanted to move here. Before I joined the band, I was here, and I'm on one of their like music videos that they did. I'm one of like the extras in the pit, and they strapped like a camera on my head, and I was like in the pit, and stuff like that. We always like, in touch. And then, but the thing is, like, they always knew I was like a huge fan. That they knew that I kind of like played bass. But then when I moved here, I started playing with like people they knew, or that in a way or whatever they like respected or stuff like that. And I guess that's when they started going like, huh, this dude is actually a bass player. You
Right.
know, like,
Right.
Like I did, stuff with like, I don't know, members from like Cypress Hill. I did that thing with Chad Smith and Tom Morello, and I played for a while with like Rick Thorne, who is like friends with everybody, and I did stuff with like D.H. Peligro from Dead Kennedys, and
Wow, man.
like I said, like anything that was like thrown my way, I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. You know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the stuff that's probably getting thrown at you is if you were in any prior step, you would have been like, holy shit, please. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and now that it's getting thrown, it's just like, it's the thing. You have to
And
say
even
yes.
till this day, dude, I still do whatever. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I'm not doing anything, and this friend or whatever. He's hey, I have this like super small show at a bar. You want to do it? Fuck yeah, I'll do it. You know, like I don't care.
Yeah.
I just want to play, dude. And
You just love playing music.
yeah, and you know,
Yeah.
and being around people and stuff. And
Yeah.
either way, at some point, you know, I was always going to all the ST shows, and as a fan, you know, like I knew their crew, I knew the roadies, the guitar techs, you know, so at some point, you know, things happen and they needed someone, and I just pretty much got like a call like, hey, are you free like tomorrow and you want to jam? And I'm like, fuck yeah, you know, and I showed up and I didn't really know fully what was going on, and I get there and like Dave Lombardo is there. I'm like, what the fuck? And
Dude.
you know, and
Holy shit.
and then
man, yeah.
like we basically, you know, went through the whole like live set, you know, I don't know, on a Friday, and then Monday we went on tour.
Wow.
You know, like
That fast, huh?
Well, I mean, I guess they knew I already knew all the songs.
No, right,
You know,
right,
but-
yeah. I mean,
and then before that also, like I was like constantly like posting videos on Instagram, and
Right.
sometimes I would see like, oh, Suicidal, like your video and stuff. And I'm like, oh, cool, that's so.
it's amazing, man.
I don't know, you know, and from other people, I don't know, like Dean, the guitar player, he told me that at some point even like Robert Trujillo told him, hey, have this guy seen this kid? Like he knows all this stuff, you know, and so I guess in a way, I don't know, my name was somewhere in there in whatever maybe list they had, you know, of like potential people.
Do you know if you were like in the middle, top? You don't know. You have no idea.
No,
You're
and
just happy
honestly,
to get the call,
I don't,
right?
I don't really
It doesn't-
care.
I don't know who would
Yeah.
refuse
I
it.
mean, honestly,
Someone who's like, nah, I'm busy.
Honestly,
Sorry.
I mean, honestly, I don't
Yeah.
even know if there was a list. Or
It probably
anything, you
wasn't,
know,
dude. You know, yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
as far as I know, what I did, it wasn't really much of like an audition. It was more like, hey, you know,
Let's just make sure he can do it. Let's
yeah,
go.
kind of like that, and we just kind of went from there, and you know, it's still happening.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Early 2016. 'Cause
Wow.
my first show was like February 27th or 26th,
Okay.
something like that. And
2016.
Yeah, and then the funny thing, like you were mentioning, if I was like, you know, like endorsed or sponsored by like companies and stuff.
Right.
When I got the official call, I wasn't, and I'm like, fuck yeah, you know. And I'm like, I turned to my roommate at the time, and I was like, dude, it's happening. He's like, ah, and then he goes like, well, I guess you need like a shit ton of strings and an amps.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck.
You're like, didn't
And
even
it
think about that.
Yeah, you know, and it was like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
a Friday night or like a Saturday, and you know, the next day is like Sunday, and then we were leaving. I'm like, shit. And luckily, those people always like liked me,
Yeah.
you know, and they always knew that I love Suicidal. They always knew that I wanted to be in the band, and I just called them, you know, I was like, hey, or emailed them or whatever, and I said, hey, so this thing is happening, and everybody was like, what's your first show? And I'm like, Tuesday, Vegas.
Where? Okay.
Yeah,
well,
they
all
were
right.
like,
all right.
We'll get you
It'll
some
be.
shit.
They were like,
Everything
don't
will be
worry, bro.
Everything
and
will be
like,
waiting for
Yeah.
you at the venue.
I got there, and I had an amp, and I had strings, I had an extra bass.
That's
and
amazing, man. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I worked at DW Drums
Oh,
for a
nice.
long time. Just customer service. I wasn't anything, but I
Yeah.
used to help out the A&R guys. And it's like, once you get into that.
Did you work with Adam? No. Oh, no. Adam wasn't
there's
in.
Garrison and
No, but Adam
Steve
was in.
Vega.
I got a mistake. He was in like Remo, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it was so interesting to see, like, you know, those endorsements are so hard to get. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they're just fucking hard to get. There's a billion people throwing.
Yeah.
I've seen the most ridiculous like resumes sent to me, and I'm like, dude, I'm in
And
customer
even till
service.
this day, like
You know,
I mean,
but like for
sometimes
them to
it's-
really, when they really know like something's happening, like it's killer
And
to see them
sometimes that-
endorse someone like that. You know?
sometimes no matter how big or small you are, sometimes that endorsement is only like a discount or something.
Right,
It's not
right,
like
right,
a-
right.
yeah.
Yeah, there's A, B,
you
and
know,
C kind of
yeah,
shit.
you know. So sometimes
Yeah.
people say like, "Oh, I got you. I saw you got this and that, and you know, you're so lucky." And it's like, well,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I still paid.
I mean,
for
I still
it.
pay
I
for
paid.
it.
I
mean,
paid 50%.
I'm
Yeah,
not
you know,
fucking
whatever.
top tier endorser.
I mean, I'm lucky
here,
that
you know? Yeah.
I got most of the people working in those companies. Like, we became like friends,
Right,
You know, more
yeah.
than it's not like just an A&R guy.
Right.
We are friends, and you know, they got my back. Sometimes it's like, you need anything, just grab it, and then we'll figure it out.
Right,
You know, like stuff
right.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
amazing,
yeah.
man. I mean, it really does speak to, you know, I mean, just to like being a musician that has to buy gear and all these things.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a couple random things or whatever, but like, I mean, just the fact of knowing that your gear's going to be there, it's going to work.
Yeah.
It's gonna fucking, you know, you got to back up, dude. Like,
Yeah,
what a
dude.
huge weight off the shoulders, and it's something that you work so hard for to get. You know what I mean? Like,
And I don't know. I've had
killer.
shows where if luckily like I have like good basses and pickups and stuff. And once we were in like shows in Europe, and changeover amp blew up. There's another billion bands in different stages, so they can't bring anything. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll just go direct, whatever, you know. And luckily, my bass is good enough that you can do that.
yeah,
and,
for sure.
But you're playing like without hearing anything, and it's a mess, whatever. And like that actually happened in Download Paris, in Paris. When we were playing like right before Rancid. I've never like seen them, and I'm like, oh shit, Matt Freeman is looking at this disaster. That I'm playing without an amp, you know. And
It's like, yo, the new ST bassist doesn't have an amp, huh?
and I'm like, kind of like he's like side stage. I'm like, fuck. And then we finish, and he comes to me, and he's like, dude, that was amazing. What amp are you playing? You sounded amazing. And I'm like, oh no, dude, this is like this dark glass pickup, or like preamp, whatever. And then like a month later, one of the dark glass guys, he like messaged me. He's like, did you say something to Matt? And I'm like, what? He's like, oh, he reached out to us, and we sent him a bunch of shit.
That's
It's
awesome.
called Amp
Yeah,
Zero.
like,
I'm
dude,
not
like,
playing
awesome,
through
yeah.
shit.
And that's a perfect microcosm of what you've been talking about. You had this. You were like, holy shit, I'm playing in front of fucking Matt Freeman, the fucking punk rock bass player aficionado.
Yeah, he's like
Right.
the god of punk
you
rock.
have you
Yeah.
have no amp. You're just like in your head you're just like
Yeah.
this the whole time,
Oh,
just,
yeah.
rocking out, and then he comes over and is like, what the fuck? Like what's that amp? That wasn't
And then
an amp.
it's also like we were saying earlier, I've done so many of those like shitty tours and all that where there's nothing
Right.
that I'm like prepared for like the worst
Prepared
situation.
for war,
I'm like,
dude.
I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck it, I'll make it work.
You've gone through fucking punk rock boot
Yeah,
camp, dude.
you
You
know?
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how it works, It's
That's-
not as fancy as people think.
Oh, no. I know, man.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What was one of the okay? So ST Suicidal Tendencies. The shows are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
What is the what is the one thing that has happened on stage that you have looked at your bandmates when it happened and was like, holy shit, that just fucking happened? Like, I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot. But is there any like defining moments of like, oh wow, like there was the one at the show that I was when I was with Strung Out at the Garden Amp.
That was one of my favorite shows.
That show was fucking crazy. But your guys' guitar player,
Ben, yeah,
who was
he became famous.
he became very famous at that
well,
show.
he was already, but
Yeah, exactly. He is.
he
But
went viral with a video.
he went to go do stand up on
An
sub
amp,
sub.
Okay.
Like shit's going crazy. He's just going to kind of go to jump on it to like push off of it.
Right.
And he goes to jump on it, and his feet slide out from underneath him. And
Well, we saw the video, and it's not that he instead of like standing on the amp, he went on the wheel.
Oh.
And that's what happened.
that's what it was.
okay.
Yeah. So he steps on it, and he just fucking goes and just reverse scorpion.
Yeah.
Reverse
like
scorpion.
gnarly.
Like really gnarly.
Yeah.
In the middle of a song, holding a guitar, gets up, keeps playing.
No way.
Does not.
And no. And the funny thing is, like, it happens, and he gets up and gets exactly to sing the backing vocals.
Yes.
like a
it's like
fucking-
yeah. He literally like stands up and just like shakes it off.
Oh,
He's like shaking it off as
Yeah,
he's singing.
and
Oh my
the
God,
funny
man.
thing is that I didn't see it happening because we're always running, we're always falling.
Yeah, you guys
sleeping.
are moving,
I
dude.
fell from stage, a million times and stuff. Or we get like sometimes, you're moving and I don't know, a guitar hits you. Whatever,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
But
Yeah.
I didn't see it. And then at the end of the show, I'm walking, through the people and everything, like back to the dressing room. And like 3 or 4 people in a row, they come to me and say, hey, man, is Ben okay? And I'm like, yeah, why? And he's like, he fell. And I'm like, fuck that dude. He always falls. I'm like super like downplaying it.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck him. He's fine. He falls solid. It's nothing.
He felt
new.
getting out of the
do.
van today.
Yeah,
dude.
it's like,
we do up there.
I'm like, that's him, whatever. And then I get to the dressing room and I see everybody like around like a cell phone. I'm like, what the fuck? And Ben is there with the phone and he's like, look at this. And he shows me his video of him falling. And I'm like, dude, everybody's gonna think I fucking hate you. Because like it looks terrible, and I was like, fuck him,
Dude.
You know, like it looks fucking
It was
gnarly.
It's
Yeah,
a bad
it
one,
is.
huh?
Yeah,
It's a
Yeah,
pretty-
I mean,
like, till
falling
this-
on stage, dude,
till
is
this
like
day-
the worst. It's something to like. It's so weird. Like you get this weird like show
No, but-
power. It's like you could survive shit on during a show that you would never
well, I
normally
mean, he used
do,
to
you
play
know?
in Dillinger Escape Plan, so
Oh my god!
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Well,
yeah.
exactly. That's what
That's
it's like. That's
insane,
why it's
dude.
like he's kind of got
Yeah.
like
He's got
his
it,
body's
yeah.
built for it.
I saw Dillinger Escape
Uh,
Plan like on the Calculating Infinity tour at venue
I never
up here in
got to
Glee.
see them, man.
Oh,
It's like,
they're fucking. I mean, it was Dillinger Escape Plan, ISIS, and Cave In.
fuck.
And it was up here in Santa Barbara. Fucking Dillinger is blowing fire
Yeah.
into the crowd, like
I believe it.
into the crowd. It was with the first singer that was terrifying. You
been
know what I
to-
mean? Like,
we've been
and I was like,
to-
I have never in my life seen anything like that.
We've been
And they're like,
to- dude.
you know?
Yeah, dude, we've been to shows or like venues where we get there and Ben, out of nowhere, he goes like, "Oh shit, I don't know if they're gonna let me in." Yeah. And we're like, "Why?" And he's like, "Oh, because like we like broke
We almost
whatever
burnt
and
this place to the ground.
and like the no, and they go like, and the band legit isn't like allowed."
yeah, no, it would
But-
make sense. It would
and I'm
totally
like,
make
"Well,
sense.
you're not. It's not that band, so I guess you're fine, you know." But
Dude, this I used to tour with this band called the Spits, and we did a tour with Off, and the first show was at Irving Plaza in New York City,
yeah.
and it was my first show ever with the Spits, right? So we go, and it's like we're the direct support, you know what I mean? Like whatever, they're very mellow, laid back. I'm their only crew guy, you know. I'm standing on the side of the stage, they're playing, and I'm just kind of like do. And they light their cymbals on fire
Oh yeah.
for one song. You know, just
Yeah,
lighter
like the-
fluid.
Yeah.
You know, it goes out. You know,
Yeah.
it's going for
Yeah.
like 15, 20 seconds.
Right.
So, but we're at Irving Plaza in New York City. We didn't tell anybody
What
that
you were
this
doing,
was
yeah.
happening. You know what I mean? Like, you know, fire, you know,
Yeah.
fire codes.
For you, it's normal.
Exactly. So I'm like, I'm on the side of the road. He lights it. All of a sudden, I see the monitor guy who's on the other side up above, and he's just freaking out. No, you. I'm like, what? Like what? I'm like, it's already on fire. The song's playing.
Yeah.
can't
What are you gonna
stop.
do?
Like, what do you like? We're already
Like-
here,
like
bro.
the show is over in 10 minutes.
We're
It's
already
like, you
here,
know,
bro. We're already here. And fire goes out, and I'm like, see, look, fire's out.
Yeah.
Right after that, 30 seconds later, 3 dudes, 6'9", come and just stand behind me, just security guards, and they just stare and they go, "Light it again, big boy." That's all he said to me was, "Light it again, big boy." And I'm like,
It's not gonna happen.
don't worry, man. We ain't gonna light no fires no more, you know. So
We've had a few of those. Not with fire, but I mean, we did like with some of those like cruises, and you know, and they were like, well, you can bring people on stage, you can like climb shit and all that. Of course, we did it. Like,
and you're you're
Yeah.
like
What are you
you're
gonna do,
like
kick me off the
you're-
boat?
Yeah.
You're like wait, yeah. Good
Like
good luck.
one cruise, the first show was like on the deck, and they actually because we performed twice on each cruise, and the second one they moved it into the theater just to avoid us like creating
Throwing shit in the pool.
But I mean, it was even worse because like we were there and like it's a theater, so there's like shit to climb. And
Yeah,
we-
yeah.
like you know, the middle of the show, I see Ben already climbing. He's like a monkey, you know. He's
Yeah.
like
Right,
fucking
right.
climbing everything. And then it's a cruise. It's not a concert venue, so the stage was like this tall, so
They're not
everybody
ready
was just
for
like
that,
going
dude.
on stage.
Yeah.
So, but it was
There's no
fun.
security. There's
No.
And
there's no
we had like, I mean, I don't know how official that was, but they were like, oh, you can get like fined and stuff because I think there's some sort of like law or whatever in the
Well, if
ocean
a
that
boat catches on fire, it's
no,
not
I mean, we
good.
never did anything with fire,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
was like, I don't know, like if you're hanging from a balcony, you know,
Oh, okay.
and stuff like that.
Well, also getting hurt on a boat probably not good.
yeah,
either.
you know, and then like we did the mega cruise with Megadeth and all that, and like even Mike was like standing on top of this like tiki bar, you know, and while Ben is like hanging from a balcony of the cruise, you know, and
I know, and it's funny because like
Yeah.
I could imagine Mike like standing on a tiki bar doing
Yeah,
his
exactly,
thing,
that's
doing
exactly
his
what I'm
thing,
saying.
and like because like
I
I've
jumped
had
in.
those,
I
I've had
jumped in the
those-
pool.
I've had those security guards, you know what I mean, like come up and be like, "Hey, look, man, that guy can't be doing that." And I just be like, "You
Tell
go
him.
tell him."
Yeah, exactly.
You
Tell
go
him. See how
tell
it
him.
goes.
Yeah.
He's right there.
Yeah.
Be my fucking guest,
Yeah.
bro.
See what
What are you-
happens.
what are
You know what I
gonna do?
mean? Like, I ain't gonna fuck around and find
Yeah,
out, but you
I
can
mean,
fuck around and
it-
find out.
it's the thing is like, I mean, I know for a fact, at least it's our case, and I'm pretty sure it's everybody's case. It's never out of like disrespect or anything. It's just like
Just having fun, man.
it's just the way our shows are, and,
This
you get
is-
caught in the moment, and you see, fuck, I can go on that table, and people is gonna go nuts. I'll just fucking go,
Yeah.
I mean, it's arguable that Suicidal fans are on level with Slayer fans. You know what I mean? Like, as far as like just rabid fucking psychos. You know what I mean? Like,
I
you
mean, we
hear
did-
just as much gnarly shit about Suicidal shows as you do Slayer shows. You know what I
and
mean? Like,
we even did that thing like we did a free show like downtown LA. Shit went nuts. The
Oh,
cops
that's
show
right.
up.
Yeah.
That
That's
was
right, the
that.
cops showed up
That
and
was
everything.
the
The mural.
The mural. Yeah, the mural.
Yeah, they did
Yeah.
a mural of like Mike near like I think it's like the 6th Street Bridge or something.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know what to expect. We were like, sure. They asked like, are you guys down to like play a set? And we're like, yeah, sure. We'll show up. And the whole time, at least I was thinking it was gonna be like, oh, we're gonna sit up in a corner.
A little private thing.
Not
little
private, but I
thing.
mean, we thought it was,
Not
you
what
know,
it
it's gonna be
was.
whatever.
I mean,
And-
LA punk rock, man.
Yeah,
So
but it
down.
was like I think it was like a Sunday at like 11 a.m.
No, yeah,
Right,
I remember
right.
that. I remember that
And-
thing. Yeah.
And in my head, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna like sit up in the parking lot, on the floor or whatever. And sure, awesome. And I'm a psychopath when it comes to like punctuality and stuff. Like I show up like 3 hours earlier than I needed.
oh, okay.
And I'm driving downtown, and I don't know, like let's say 7:30 a.m. or something. And I don't know, not even near the place, I see like 2 people with like a hat and bandanas. And I'm like, huh, what's going on here? And then I start getting closer, and I already see like a line of people, and I'm like, holy shit. And then I get to the place, and I see a stage with like a PA, and I'm like, holy fuck.
You're like, this is a real thing.
And I like texted like a group chat. He's like, hey, and I sent like a picture. He's like, this is a show.
Yeah.
You better bring your full kit, and all that.
yeah.
And they were only allowed, I think, to like have 500 people max.
Yeah, I think it was like.
And there was like thousands.
Yeah.
I think it was like
I
4
could
or
imagine.
5.
Dude, I mean,
Yeah.
Suicidal for
And
free
they were all
in
around
LA?
the block. I mean, they
Fuck off,
still
you know?
only let 500 people in.
Yeah,
but
but the
there
other
was people-
10,000 outside
The thing
are
is, like,
fucking
at
freaking
some
out.
point, people started going into like, private property across
Oh,
the street
yeah,
to like
dude.
try to see, and then eventually they just had to like open the gate and let everybody in.
Yeah.
And the cops show up, and they were like, "You guys have to like end it." And then nothing went violent or anything, but we were kind of not forced, but we just said on the mic, "Hey, keep it cool," and they're gonna let us play like 3 more songs, and that's it. Everybody, we're gonna
Those
just
are-
hang out and go home or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it went well,
Yeah.
Those are smart cops because the.
I mean, honestly there wasn't any other option.
Well, because
Yeah.
their other option
Right.
is they clip it, and then all those people lose their minds in
Right.
downtown
Well, yeah,
LA, which is what will happen.
Yeah,
But if you go like, hey
they-
guys, we get 3 more songs. Thank everyone for coming
Yeah,
out.
like they came
and
to like
everyone
the
will
side of the
leave-
stage, and
Everyone will leave calmly and feel like they got
yeah.
their shit.
we were like, hey, the cops are here. They're not gonna do anything, but just be careful, and we're gonna play a couple more songs, and thank you for coming, and and
Yeah.
and that it was. Obviously, for a second, it was a little more tense. They were like, holy shit,
Oh, dude.
but and some people were joking like, oh, so like after I don't know 30 years of getting banned in LA, you work it out to get banned again. Like, we're like, nah, dude.
Yeah, totally, man.
But
Well, it's crazy because like the punk rock chaos to us, you understand the difference between a
Yeah.
really violent show
Yeah.
and people that are having fun. Like,
their mind,
yeah,
having
yeah, you know what I
fun.
mean? Just having fun, and
Yeah,
it
but
looks
that's
crazy,
for
but like
someone-
for the outsider, the civilian,
It
I
looks
call
like a
them,
war,
It looks like
yeah.
a straight up
Yeah.
fucking war. You know what I mean? Like, and they don't understand. So
Yeah.
it's like, I've many times had to tell people, hey guys, we're
Dude,
all having fun here.
we had a
There's no reason to
moment-
get crazy.
we had a moment when we played in Cuba, because they don't really get much like. And I think
they're hungry for shows.
we were
I bet.
we were pretty much the first band ever
I don't-
in
Wow,
our genre
really?
to do that.
I can't think
That
of
would
any
make
bands.
sense.
I mean, well, Sepultura played there once, but they're Brazilians, and then what was it? The Rolling Stones, right?
Yeah.
Oh
they-
yeah,
they
yeah,
did
yeah.
a show
That's right,
there,
they
yeah.
did. That
Well,
was like back in the day.
yeah,
That's a whole
Like,
different
that was
animal.
And
like-
stuff like that, and either way, like we got there and like security or cops or military, whatever you want to call it, they haven't really seen a mosh pit or anything, you know. And we started playing, and people started like moving a little bit, and you know, and then a mosh, and we saw like, you know, like legit, like the cops were like this, and we're like, whoo. It's like, yo, it's all cool, and like somebody explains to them, no, this is fine, you know, whatever, and we just kept playing. And then also at some point, you know, we always do it at every show. We don't really mean anything by it, but it was like, oh yeah, you know, like put your fist in the air, whatever, and everybody was like that, and then we're like,
Maybe just halfway, up, not the full. Don't do the full way. Do just half fist.
It was just like a thing in seconds that never really, nothing happened, and nobody, not everybody noticed, you know, but it was like, you don't think of those things, you know?
Well, the cultural experience is just completely different.
But it was like, probably it's been the greatest experience that I've had, you know, like touring-wise. Like, nobody really gets to say that, you know?
No, nobody, like, honestly.
And also, it was great because we got to do it with Dave, you know? And
And
Dave is born and raised in Cuba, and it's like, you know, it was his first time playing there, ever.
Really?
Oh,
wow. Yeah, that's amazing.
You know, and so it was emotional for everybody. It was cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, shit, man.
Dude.
Yeah.
You fucking have had it. You've got a story, bro. I like it. I like
That's
it. Like,
cool.
I really like your story of just like, you get an opportunity and you fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and that is.
I mean, is
that
there any
what-
other way to do it?
No, there
honestly?
isn't. There isn't though. But that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that there's like when people are always like, oh, you do this cool thing. Oh, you're doing this cool thing.
Yeah, you're so lucky.
You're not. No, you say yes to it.
Yeah.
Right.
You get given an opportunity. There's so many people that we all know that get given an opportunity and they're like, it's just
I
not
don't
the right
know,
time.
yeah.
Just not right now.
Timing's not
man, if it was in
good.
6 months,
Yeah.
if it
Or
was
not
in
only
6
that,
months,
like you think you're above the opportunity.
But you know, for example,
for someone that thinks
I'm
they're above it, you know
I'm
what I
also
mean?
kind of grateful for the things that I wanted to happen and didn't happen.
right.
Because, for example, for many years, I was like kind of jokingly, but not telling Dean or people that I knew, like, hey, man, you know, I'll play in Suicidal, you know, like, whatever. And when I actually joined the band and went on my first tour, I was like, if this would have happened, I don't know, 2 years ago, I wasn't ready for it.
You wouldn't have been
Right,
ready.
right.
And I'm like, okay, good that it didn't happen when I
Right.
wanted it to happen. And then it happened out of nowhere one day, you know?
Yeah.
But the thing is that it wouldn't have happened at that point because you had to go through those couple of years
Yeah.
of opportunities
Right.
to get to that
And-
point, and that's what taught you kind of how to do. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you
it
know.
teaches you how to do.
And
I mean-
also, I think it's maybe, I mean, not to shit on an entire generation, but no, but I mean,
Go
like-
ahead. We do it all
like-
the time.
Like for example, when I started playing or whatever, the only way that I could like learn a song or start a band or practice whatever, it was like listening to a song a million times, figuring it out, getting together with people, jamming and all that. I couldn't learn a song watching a YouTube video or
Right.
Right.
I didn't even have a CD. I would have to like go in the cassette, the
Hit
same
that
fucking
rewind-
bar.
hit that rewind
Right.
button.
Yeah, with my.
If you were
pencil.
lucky enough to get like a Metallica tablature
Yeah,
book,
you
you know what I
know,
mean, or
if,
whatever it
you know.
was, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So I think like it was like harder that I'm kind of used to work harder, I guess.
Yeah.
No,
You
yeah.
know?
No, that makes
It's
sense.
it's just. I mean, it's not that I do it as like, oh, I'm working hard. It's just the way it is.
That's just the way you've done it.
That we learned to
Yeah.
do shit. You know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
It
I mean-
wasn't like, oh, you want to play soccer? Well, yeah, I'm gonna have this trainer. It's like, no, you will just go on the fucking street and play soccer all day.
Play soccer
Well,
10
it's-
hours a day.
until you get
Right.
better.
Right.
Well, and then
100%.
like nowadays, I feel that, I mean, we both have kids, and I see it in my kids as, at least my youngest kid, he looks at being able to do anything as, I'll just watch a YouTube video
Yeah.
Right.
and do it. You
And
know
I'll be
what I
honest,
mean? Like-
sometimes I fix shit like watching
Well,
YouTube
no,
videos
I
or
do
whatever.
too,
You know?
I do
It's
too.
great. It's a
I
great
do
tool.
too,
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when I'm like, hey, I need to look up something, I look up something real quick on
Yeah,
YouTube.
of course.
It's not about. It's just a different way
Yeah.
that it's being done now,
Right.
and I'm glad I didn't grow up that way.
I'm with
Yeah,
you, man.
yeah.
You know, I'm glad that I didn't.
Like, dude,
you
I mean, I
know.
remember, especially like back in the day, like we wouldn't even have internet, you know?
Oh no, yeah.
Or it was like the very beginning of the internet era in Chile.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I would go because I didn't even have a computer at home or internet at home. I would go to like a cafe or whatever
Right,
with
right.
a floppy disk.
Right.
And like I don't know, and like download a picture of a live show of a band that I like.
Right.
Like that took me an hour.
Right.
You
Right.
know? And I would like if I wanted to like listen to something, I would have to like I don't know, go to a record store and like talk to the dude and then convince 10 other friends of like, hey, if we all chip in, we can get these 3 records.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then
You
trade
know?
them all
Yeah,
around.
and then we
yeah.
didn't really know bands, so we would like grab. I don't know. For example, there's a lot of bands that I would grab. I don't know, Chili Peppers record. It's like let's go on the credits. It's like
Yeah,
oh,
the thank you list.
Yeah, thank you
The thank
Fishbone,
you
thank
list.
you George Clinton, thank you. I don't know, whatever. And you go like, oh, who are these guys? I don't know. We don't know. Okay, let's order 1 record each.
Right.
And that like we would like
That's-
ask
that is-
blindly.
Yeah.
For
same
records,
thing, same thing for me. That was
Yeah.
totally
That's how it went,
the
yeah.
thank you list.
There was no like,
the
thank
thank
you list.
list is where I
Yeah.
learned about
Yeah.
more bands because
and then you start seeing names that repeat in different bands.
Yeah,
like, oh, this
yeah.
producer and this,
well, because that's the thing. It's like
yeah.
like you would maybe only know that one band that
Yeah.
you got the record of, but then all of a sudden you look at the thank you list and you're like, there's 20 bands I've never heard of, and then that opens, and then that's when it's just like
Exactly, and then
but
there
then
was
you-
no Spotify recommendation of the week, like
no.
or Apple,
Well,
The
playlist,
thrill of
whatever.
discovery was like
The-
yeah.
incredible.
and
back
you would
then.
appreciate it
Yeah,
more.
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I've said a few times on this podcast, like nowadays, back in the day that you're talking about, it was you find out about a band, okay, how do we get this? How do we find the record? How do we? Okay, does someone have it on tape? You know what I mean? There's all different ways of getting it. Then you get it, you order it, you go pick it up, whatever. You finally have it. That could take months.
Oh,
at
yeah.
a time. Nowadays it's like, oh, I heard about this band. Oh, okay.
Whatever.
Look it up on my phone.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a live YouTube video. Okay, I can watch the whole video. Okay. Oh, here's a link.
So what? It's 9 cents. Forget it.
Yeah. Here's a
These
link.
arrogant pricks.
Here's a link to their T-shirts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
their record. Okay, I can buy that. Okay, cool. That's on the way.
Shipping worldwide.
All right,
you
cool.
know.
All right, cool. Do you know what? I don't need to do anything else because I've experienced this band.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how people do it nowadays.
Right, man.
Yeah.
They experience a band by sitting there.
I think that's why, people always like, well, I mean, they tell me about it, but I mean, I know it because I grew up there. It's like every single, like, foreign, I say foreign as not Chilean or South American,
Right.
like a band, they hear I'm from Chile, and everybody goes like, holy shit, we played there. Shit was crazy, And it's like it's the same, like Brazil, Chile, Argentina,
mean,
Colombia, whatever. We don't get the bands,
No.
like the first time Suicidal played was like 2007, and then was 2010. It's not
Right.
like, oh, they're doing.
They're
a,
not in the
Band-
circuit.
It's
bands
like-
Yeah.
touring.
Yeah.
Bands touring.
It's not like,
in
oh,
South
I'll see them next month. No, it's like
Yeah.
fucking.
Yeah.
You just go and go crazy.
It's-
That's
yeah,
like the one
bands-
chance,
Bands touring South America is definitely it's a process, and it happens very seldomly, and it's always nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit
It's-
goes wrong.
it's
Shit
always
goes
just
well.
like-
It's like
it's
an
like the
adventure for
last
sure.
place. It's like the last place where, I mean, who knows nowadays because it's been a year with no shows, but it's like
Right.
the like shows in America in like the 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as far as just like punk shit, where it's just like, hey, you never,
Yeah.
you know,
You
who
don't
knows
know.
what's
Maybe you
gonna
got a
happen.
PA. Maybe you don't.
Maybe
Have you
you're
been
gonna-
able to play in Suicidal
We
in
played
Chile
in,
since?
we played in Chile a couple of times. The
That-
first
how-
time we
how
went-
did that
The
feel,
first
man?
time we went there, we couldn't even finish the show.
Really?
Yeah.
You're like, guys, calm down. I
No,
just
'cause
got
like,
here.
the
Fuck,
same
you know?
thing. It was like it was Suicidal and Napalm Death.
Oh shit.
So like it was sold out. The place was packed. There was like I don't know, like 400 extra people outside.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
South America
Trying to
sold
get
out,
in.
Sold out is oversold, and then there's
So-
people trying to get in.
Then they broke the gates. The people started going in.
Mm-hmm.
Power went out. Cops showed up. Fucking smog and all that shit.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
cops on fucking horses down the street. And like, you know, I was there with like my mom and shit. I'm
Right,
like,
right,
fuck. My mom is like, well, is this normal? I'm like, yeah, mom, don't worry. This is like,
yeah,
it's fine.
yeah.
I'm
Don't worry,
fine.
Mike will protect us. We're
Yeah,
good.
I had like local friends that they were like standing there with like my family. So, I mean, it never became like dangerous. or
No,
anything, you know,
but
No,
but,
yeah.
it never.
but it was like at some point I was like, shit.
How good
You know?
did that feel though to be
I-
able to
to
play?
me,
in
it
your,
was fucking
like,
awesome.
I mean, that's
Because
cool.
that
man.
had to be like the triumphant fucking.
Yeah, and like the first
homecoming.
time Suicidal played in 2007, like without me playing, but I was with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the end of Pledge, where everybody's like on stage, like even before the show started, I was like, "Hey, by the way, guys, I don't know if you want to bring people on stage because shit can go like a little crazy." They were like, no, we do it all over the world. It's fine. I'm like, I don't know,
different,
bro. You know, like maybe think twice. You know.
Yeah.
And they were like, no. And then at the end of the show, you know, this is your stage, whatever.
Oh.
People start going in. One dude straight to like the cymbals. One dude straight to the guitar pedals. You know,
Oh no!
and at some point, I'm like with my camera, like on top of like Dean's guitar rig, like trying to
protect it.
People ended up like going in almost like to the dressing rooms, and we like locked ourselves in
Oh
the
my
dressing room.
God, dude.
You could see from the window like my car outside, and people were like, ah. I'm like, holy shit! But I mean, it was fucking perfect.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, I was
That's
like, this is great.
That's a very South American.
Yeah, right?
Band going to South America.
Like people in the
Fuck
van,
yeah.
like
fucking
fucking.
par for the course.
Yeah,
That
dude.
is
That's
awesome.
amazing, man.
Like there's a video, I think it's No Effects or something like on one of like those like DVDs or whatever.
Yeah.
They get to Chile or Argentina or something, and everybody's like from the airport till the show. It's like everybody on the van.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
We're like, what
dude.
the fuck? Yeah.
Dude.
Was that your first time going back home since?
No.
No, you
To play or to
Uh,
visit?
just at all.
Well,
To visit
well,
from
either.
when you left. From when you left.
No. I visited a bunch of times, and then I went to play also.
Okay.
I played shows with like kind of like so to call it like reunion shows with bands that I used to play.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Or also I did Lollapalooza over there
Mm.
with like with Rhythm Machine, which was like me, some of the guys from like Cypress Hill and stuff, and
Okay.
so yeah, I mean I used to go maybe like once a year, not necessarily to play,
But just
Just
go
to
see
be there.
yeah,
family.
but and sometimes I would like know that I'm going. I would like hit up some people, say, hey, you know, if you want to
Hey,
like
yeah.
play, you know, I'll be there. I have a bass, you know, like.
Yeah.
And you know, or I would record stuff just to like you know see people
Nice.
and
Yeah.
stuff. But I mean, I always try to play everywhere I go. Like even if I go, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. If I'm in at a country and there's like a day off, whatever, and I know there's like a jam session or something, I'll go.
Oh, okay.
You know, unless I'm like super tired or whatever, or we're going to
Right.
dinner or whatever. But I always try to like I don't know connect
No,
with
man.
you know.
It's you're a fan.
Yeah,
You're
and
a
I'll
fan,
always
just
be, and
do
I'm
it.
proud
You're-
to
and
be a
that's
fan,
and
you
that,
know?
and that's what I love. I love that like this is still like okay, yeah, I'm doing all this, but holy shit, this is cool.
Like I mean, it sounds super dumb when I say it, but I still even get like starstruck from my own bandmates.
Right.
You know, like,
That's
I don't know.
amazing, man.
Like,
That's
like I
that's-
get a text from like you know Mike or Dave or whatever, and inside of me I don't really say anything, but in my head it's like holy
Right.
shit,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
like
No, 100%.
like Mike
or it's
texted
like-
me, you know,
or it's like do you have that one friend, like maybe the one or two friends back home that you still can kind of go like,
Holy shit, dude.
can you fucking believe this shit?
all the time.
Like, can
Yeah.
you believe this shit? Like,
I have friends back home that they play with like fucking massive artists,
Yeah.
you know, like fucking, you know, touring the world, setting out stadiums,
Right.
You know, and sometimes I, you know, post a picture with, you know, some musician, and they go like, "Holy shit, man!"
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you know, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Dude, you're like doing 20 times bigger
Right,
things,"
right.
you know?
right,
and they like freak out, you know. Or,
But it's but you've done the, because America is that, like, whether we like it, like whether it is or not, the beacon of like music.
yeah.
The beacon of like the culture that you're trying to get, you know what I mean?
And especially like directly the music that I like.
exactly.
know.
Right.
Exactly. And for you to go from Chile and do the steps and fucking make it here, like, it's a testament, man.
It's amazing.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's weird because everything happens like so gradually and kind of natural, you know, like because I started just meeting people and then we became closer and then it happened
Right.
that I guess when it happened, I didn't really take it like that way, like, holy shit, you know, I grew up in Chile and I'm here. But then from other people talking to me, I'm like, holy shit, yeah, that is amazing, you know?
Well, do you know what it is though? It's because it's the
Also, it became like news in Chile.
Right, yeah.
Like, dude,
Yeah.
like
They're all, this fucking guy got
yeah,
it.
no, like in legit, it was like on news.
hometown hero.
It was like on newspapers
Right,
and like
man.
on the news and
Yeah.
shit. And even Mike is at some point he like messaged me. He's like, "Who the fuck are you?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "I've been getting phone calls and shit from Chile, like news stations and whatever. Like, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. I'm as shocked as you are."
I don't know if you know this, buddy, but I'm a big deal.
No, you know, it was like,
Yeah.
it was awesome, especially because I thought like, oh shit, you know, my family is gonna see all that, and it was like super emotional. You know?
Yeah,
But-
man.
But you know, but that gradual thing though, it's about who you are because, like, you're involved in this because you're a good dude. In the bottom.
I
of it
hope
all. In
so.
the bottom, but in the bottom of it all,
I tried to.
It's like the people
I'm sure
that
I'm
stick
sure there's
around-
people that fucking
the
hate
people
me,
that
but yeah.
stick around are because they're good dudes. You know what I mean? Like
Longevity.
You want to be, you know, like these big people that we kind of idolize.
Yeah.
Want to hang out with you because they know they can be themselves around
But that's
you.
the other
Right.
thing. Like even
And-
like way before I was in the band, everybody that I
You just-
met.
you treat everyone like a normal fucking
Yeah,
person.
no. But I mean,
Right.
every time that I met, fucking stars or people that I admire, they were always also very nice to me. So it's like I don't have any reason not to be to other people. You know?
Right.
You don't hear
And,
stories
and
about Dave
and I'm
Lombardo
very,
being
like,
a dickhead.
You know, like I
you know
said,
what
at
mean?
shows I hang out. I'm at merch. I talk to everybody.
Right.
People sometimes, you know, they write me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I try to talk to as much people as I can, and you know, and even Mike till this day is that way. You know, after the show, he stays there and shakes hands with everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you know, I'll do it. I don't have a reason not to be approachable, you know, or whatever, you know. And some people are cool. Some people sometimes they think you talk to people for different reasons, whatever. I'm like, dude, I just like hanging out with people.
Yeah,
I
you just
told
want to be like, this is the part of the gig.
Yeah,
And this is a part of it, and you enjoy it.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's really specific to punk rock. You know what I mean? Because what punk
Absolutely,
rock,
yeah.
the cool thing
There's
about punk
no-
rock was that you can meet your fucking heroes, and you can interact with your heroes. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like the Rolling Stones. You're never gonna meet them. You know what I mean? Like you can meet fucking Mike Muir and shake
Yeah.
his hand, and it would
I
make
mean, I
your
did it,
day,
you know,
dude. Like
and-
the amount of musicians I've met in my lifetime that gave me just 2 minutes of their time. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to punish them, but like. You remember that shit forever, you know what I mean?
Absolutely,
Like,
yeah.
and that's like the beauty of fucking punk rock is
Like, I
that
mean,
you
like,
are you are the
and
representation of
For
that.
example,
you know?
yesterday was Mike's birthday, and then today is my birthday, and you know, I saw the comments that he got and comments that were, you know, towards me and everything, and everybody was like, you know, oh, happy birthday, Mike! Like I met you at this show in, you know, whatever, in I don't know, '92, and you know. I didn't have a ride, so you guys took me back to my house in the van, like shit like that. You know?
Yeah, it's
or,
amazing, man.
Or like, oh, you talked to me, you know, for an hour, and I don't know, like important shit. Like you talked to me for an hour, and the day after, I stopped drinking.
Yeah.
And you know, and now I've been sober for 20 years.
That's
Whatever, shit like
amazing,
that. And
man.
I go like, fuck. And you know, I got messages like, dude, like, you know, we talked at that show, and you maybe don't remember me, but you know, now I started playing bass, or my kids started playing bass, you know, or we did this show in, like, I think it was like Huntington Beach, and I don't know, at the end of the show, there was like this kid with like a mohawk and like a vest, and he looked rad, you know. At the end of the show, I go and I gave him, like, I put like my bass on him, and we like grabbed him, and you know, and everybody was like clapping at him, and that was it, you know. And I was like, oh, cool, that, you know, that was nice, whatever.
Yeah.
Next day, we get a message from, like, I almost get like emotional, from like his dad, and he was like, hey, you know, like, my kid has like this and that like condition, and you know, and he's very not social and shy, and he doesn't even speak, and now he's doing so good, and it's thanks to you guys, and now he's starting to play bass, and he made a million friends, and you know, I'm like, holy shit, you know, like, I never thought of it, you know. I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Because but the thing is though is like that, like we all kind of like, you know, like, oh, this is fun, punk rock stuff, but there is an important element to this whole thing, because those people that are coming are, you know, spending money, waiting in line, standing in front of the stage for hours, waiting for you to play, and then they wait in a fucking merch line, and just for you to talk to them for
or even
30
acknowledge,
seconds, acknowledge them. Just acknowledge them and say, hey, thank you for coming. We appreciate
Right.
you.
Yeah.
That's all it really takes.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate you.
Right.
You
So
know, I've always...
we try to be like that way as much as we can. Sometimes it's hard.
Well,
you
and
know.
Suicidal's known
it
for
is-
it. You know what I
it is
mean?
Yeah,
hard.
that too. Yeah.
It is hard, but it's such an important thing because that 30-second conversation will go for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For years, that person will take that. And I can't tell you how many conversations people have come up to me and said, I'm looking for this band member. They did this with me 20 years ago. And I'm like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, part of me kind of wants to go like, holy shit, like, wow, you really remember this. But then also I go like, no, wait a minute. This is important.
Right.
It's a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, this is important to these people and you can't brush it off.
Yeah.
You know?
You really got to remember to appreciate it. You know what I mean?
And I mean, like you were talking about how, like, you know, like just picking up that kid, putting the bass on him, and like how you're getting emotional about it. I've had experiences like that where, you know, we have facilitated to stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the next day you get these crazy messages, and you're just like, you know what I mean? It takes you're totally. I mean, there's been a few times we've gotten messages where you're brought to tears because something that is us you know what I mean? Us doing, like, made this person's fucking year, if not life, you know?
Or people that, you know, I don't know, like I never heard of you guys, but I came to the show because, I don't know, my dad just passed and you guys were his favorite band and I really enjoyed the show and, you know, I needed this, and you were like, holy shit, you know? Sometimes you have no idea what the people that, you know, they're smiling or whatever in the pit in front of you, they're going through shit, and you're giving them that little, I don't know, vacation or whatever.
Yeah, punk rock is the last great outlet, dude.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It really is.
Music
you know?
in general.
Music
you know?
in general,
music,
you're right. You know,
it's cool, man. It's
one time with Strung Out, we were in San Diego, and we had a family show up with an urn of like their brother, and he was like Strung Out was like his favorite band, and it was just like we were all, you know what I mean, like you're in the middle of tour, and probably San Diego, we're probably coming home, so it's like you know, and then all of a sudden like that hits, and you're just like, holy shit, there's like way bigger fish to you know what I mean, like
things that you're not
things that all of a sudden you're like, oh man, we're doing this, like holy shit, like this, like let's just this is important, you know what I mean?
That's why I'm like, if somebody, you know, charity or whatever, they always like reach out to us, and we always like do whatever we can. You know, like especially stuff for like kids. Like I did, like now when COVID happened and all that, like I did a bunch of I did a video with like kids, like, I mean, not with them, but you know, virtually or whatever, playing Rush with kids from this like Alice Cooper's like Conservatory of Music in Arizona and shit, and stuff like that. That it's like, even before I joined the band, I did some music stuff for kids that, you know, they had like physical, you know, disabilities, whatever, but they were like amazing musicians, and I went to like Colorado, and we played with everybody and hang out. It's like, but you don't really think of that until, you know, you see a guy that can even barely walk or talk and move his hands, and you see him fucking playing guitar.
Right.
Then you're driving back from Colorado home, and you're like, holy shit, I'm so fucking blessed.
You're blessed that you're not in that condition. You're blessed that you can help out and fucking give one of these people an avenue. You're blessed that you can give back.
Yeah,
right.
or
you know
even
I mean?
just blessed to have experienced that, you know, like fucking, you know. And like I remember he played live with the band that I was playing at the time. He came to the show, and that guy, he played like, we did like an Alice in Chains cover, and he fucking murdered the solo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, like,
amazing,
like he can barely even move. Like he's like paralyzed.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude.
We're Facebook friends, and now he's doing like great. He's fucking.
Those are like the incredible, unexpected perks of being, you know what I mean? Like being in a community like that. You know what I mean? I just love that stuff, man. It's beautiful.
It's the real important side of music.
Right. Yeah.
But sometimes people forget.
Because that really is the only thing that like it blends through party lines. Music is the great equalizer in the world, whether it's punk or not. Like it's incredible. I mean, there's songs that are so important to people, no matter what side you're on, where you're from in the world. You know what I mean? Music is just that great equalizer, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So we know that it is your birthday.
So
and we know that you're probably trying to eat healthy, but we did want to buy you at least a little cake here. And
so look at
with your parting gift, a Get Heavy.
Oh, perfect.
Get heavy
COVID mask, because apparently this shit's never ending.
Save it in the fridge or something.
There you go. Eat it when you're.
It has like a little candle.
Yes, it does.
There you go.
So
Happy birthday.
Is it vegan or you just got it anywhere?
No, it's not.
No,
we
not
got it
vegan.
from the store. We got it from
But happy birthday from 35 to maybe 38, whatever you are.
however old you are.
Yeah, there you go.
Like,
84. Well, I was born in 84.
84.
Oh, yeah.
37.
All right, yeah, because I'm gonna be 39 and I'm 82, so that makes sense. Dude, it's been a pleasure having
It's
you
funny,
on,
it's
man.
like right before coming here, I was like driving out and I get a phone call from this number I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, is this Ra? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, are you home? And I'm like, I'm leaving like right now. And they go like, we're delivering a cake to you. And I'm like, okay, I'll wait. And I messaged him. He's like, oh yeah, I'll be 10 minutes late.
Hold on, motherfucker. I got a cake coming. Wait a minute. Yeah.
So about that eating healthy shit, here's a couple. Here's a cake to add to your cake.
There's something to tempt you.
Well, I mean,
Hey.
I'll go to the gym tomorrow.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a long process.
I'll sweat it out.
Is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to kind of say? People to follow you?
I
anything
know.
like that?
I just want to say for people, be safe. I hope everybody's being healthy and sane, and hopefully we'll get back out there and play shows and see everybody because I feel like everybody needs it.
Yeah,
What
man.
is what's it looking like? Is there any like rumblings in your suicidal camp of dates? Because I'm starting to get date rumblings. You know what I mean? Of like,
Dude, the other day I was just talking
know-
to people, and you know what's been really sad for me when you start getting those like Facebook memories or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
But not just that. Now I started to get like, a year ago today.
Yeah.
And it's like
flyers
for shows that got canceled.
Right. It's even worse.
And I'm like, fuck.
Oh.
And it's like, ah.
I know
The
you're
shit
like,
that you could have done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know?
It's a bummer,
But
man.
no, we're being,
you guys keeping it safe, 2022 kind of a thing.
well,
We'll see what happens.
for the most part,
Yeah.
us keeping it safe, and also they're just moving it.
Yeah.
And there's a few that are supposed to be like towards the end of the year that we don't really know what the status is going to
Everything's
be.
up in the air.
Yeah. It's
I personally, I hope I'm super wrong. I don't think they're probably going to happen.
Yeah.
I hope they do. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think punk rock bowling is the big beacon everyone's looking at.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
punk rock bowling happens,
Psycho Fest too.
Well, I mean, there's
Psycho's
and
another
then
one
there's
that's
other
supposed
stuff
to
that is
happen,
probably
too.
gonna be maybe like in Florida that I don't know.
Well, Florida's fucking wide open anyway.
But
They
that's
don't
the
give
thing.
a
But
shit.
the other thing is like, do people really like? Do bands really want to go? And
Well, that's the
and,
thing. Yeah, right.
So I don't know. It's like a
because as you know, it's hard for bands of suicidal stature, of the stature we're talking about, to just go and play one show.
yeah.
Right.
I mean,
You know what I
for
mean?
the most part, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like
Fiscally-
especially after
unless you get
a crazy amount of
and
money.
that's not gonna be the
It's
case.
not gonna
Yeah,
happen,
yeah.
especially right now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, so it's like, it's something that people don't understand, that like, it's especially after we've been closed down for so long,
Yeah.
like really getting it going, like rehearsal.
yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And like,
It's like
fucking-
like I don't know. Some people go like, oh, you can play in I don't know Europe right now with like whatever amount of people.
it's like, why?
And I'm like, it's not that. We would have to go there, afford to quarantine in a hotel.
Yeah.
for 2
for
weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You know,
And
nobody
probably
can do
fucking
that.
get it while you're out
You
there.
know?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
and like,
Nobody can afford that. I don't
and
care.
people
I don't
don't-
care what band you are.
Right.
Nobody
100%.
can.
and plus, like, it takes 6 months of
Minimum.
the engine getting
Yeah.
revved up.
Right.
You know what
So,
I mean? It's
I don't
not
know.
like, especially now that everyone's so stay put. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like before, it's like you're going from one tour to another, and it's like, okay, yeah, we're rolling, we're rocking. But right now, everyone's asleep. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
so I
I
don't know.
mean-
I kind of like don't wanna get any ideas in my head.
right. Right.
mentally, I think the same thing for myself to
Yeah.
do is just think of 2022,
Yeah.
Right.
just to like
Yeah.
not get
Just to
heartbroken
not- just
again
to
and
not
again.
get-
Yeah.
Just to not get worked up about it.
Yeah,
Just
you
to
know?
be
Smart,
like,
man.
I hope I did a few like drive-in shows with other bands, and I've been recording a lot of stuff for different people
Right.
from home and videos and stuff like that. Just kind of like to stay
Yeah.
active or whatever.
Yeah.
But I did those drive-in shows and I had fun. I did one right here in Ventura. That was the first one.
Which one? Who'd you play with here?
Metalachi.
Oh, you played with
Oh, you
Metalachi?
played
Yeah, yeah.
Metalachi?
Well, I mean,
That's
it was super out of nowhere. Like,
Oh,
because Alex
they
from
hit you up 2 days before? And were
No,
like, hey.
I was there at soundcheck because Alex from Suicide Silence was gonna play drums,
Okay.
and we were there talking, and their like manager like walks by, and he's like, "Oh, so you live around here?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I don't know, 20 minutes, 25 minutes." And he was like, "You wanna play?"
Shit.
And I'm like, for real? I mean,
Yeah,
I
let
don't
me
know.
go learn 20 songs. Hold on.
I'm like, I don't really know the songs or whatever, and I don't know. This is like 6 p.m.
Yeah, shows at 8.
And I'm like, well, I have 20 minutes, and I mean, it's all covers, but
Right.
but it's like they do it in different
Yeah, of
stuff,
course,
you know,
man. Yeah.
different style and different keys and stuff. But I'm like, well, I'm familiar with the song, so what I did, I went on my phone and I looked like Metalachi on like streaming music service.
Yeah.
I just don't want to say it.
There
Just
you
don't
go.
want to say it.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Give us
Fuck 'em.
money.
That's right.
And then and I was like, okay, well, I have, let's say 30 minutes that way and 30 minutes coming back, so I have an hour to like listen to the song.
Nice. Dude,
So I legit just like got home,
that's amazing.
grab a bass, a cable, a small amp,
Mhm.
and I got there like, I don't know, 30 minutes before they went on, and I'm just like jumped in and played.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
And it went great, and we did
Yeah.
we even did like a drum and bass thing, just me and Alex.
Oh,
and we were
okay.
like the Suicidal Boys,
That's amazing.
you know,
man.
Suicide Silence and Suicidal Tendencies. And then it went like, we had so much fun that they were doing another one like in Riverside like a few weeks later, and they were like, dude, you want to come? Yeah, fucking, I just went. So I did those. It was
Nice.
cool, dude.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Again, just
saying
just
yeah,
say
man.
yes.
Yeah.
Just
I-
like,
yeah.
Say
like,
yes.
like you have no real reason to say no.
Right.
No, and then
you know what I mean?
Alex, Suicide Silence, like a month ago or something, he hit me up. He's like, hey, I'm like producing this like sort of like unplug kind of thing for this band, and they really need someone to like play bass, kind of like a Latin kind of thing. And I'm like, I'll do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And like he wasn't even done explaining. He's
Right.
like, dude, I'll do it. Send me the
That's
songs. I'll fucking
Okay.
do it.
Yeah.
And he sent it to me. I did the bass like at home, sent it to them. They loved it, and then we actually filmed the whole thing, and it went super cool. So I don't know when that's coming out, but it's gonna be cool. It's
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
It's gonna be like a lot of people are gonna tell me like, oh shit, I didn't know you could play that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, I saw you doing a petty cover, right? I saw you.
I've done a bunch of
Yeah,
really,
I saw you
like,
doing a petty cover, and
I've
then I saw
done-
that.
I've done Taylor Swift. I've
Right.
done,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
whatever.
cool, man. I mean,
I've
I'm a
done-
huge Tom Petty. I was in a Tom Petty
Yeah.
cover band for a long
Oh
time.
really?
Yeah, for a
I
while.
did that with
I
Charlie.
fucking
and
love Tom Petty, man.
Now I think we're gonna do another like Rush video, and
Nice.
I did some stuff with like 2 Chilean friends that they started a band. Like, this is the craziest thing. They started a band during quarantine. So they've never played live, but they started doing the online thing. But the guitar player was tracking bass, so they didn't have a bass player. So they're doing this like online prog festival,
Oh, okay.
which is not really my favorite thing to do. But they were like, dude, like, would be cool if you play bass. Like, the 3 of us are Chilean, whatever. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. We sent the tracks, and I think that's coming out like next week. So we did like 3 songs, and I showed it to a couple of friends that are like, I never see you like playing fucking tapping and shit, You're like,
Yeah.
like,
Getting all
and,
giggly
and at
on
first,
it, dude.
at first I was like, I even like jokingly, I told the other 2 dudes like, dude, I fucking hate this, but I'll do it, like we're brothers, I'll do
Hey,
it.
man, yeah.
And then after I started like learning the songs and recording, I am actually like on the way here, I was just like listening to the recordings with it just because I actually like it now.
Yeah.
So-
It's,
and
you
it
know,
was cool
that
because
it's a challenge.
Yeah,
though, right?
I wasn't even sure that I could do that, know?
Dude, yeah. That's,
So it
that's
was
cool.
cool.
And now you know.
Yeah.
So now you know that another opportunity, from that opportunity, from you saying yes to that,
Yeah.
another opportunity is going to come about at
Well,
one time,
that's-
and you're going to
that's
be
what-
like,
that's what happened to
holy
me. That's
shit.
pretty much what has happened to me my entire career, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Like I said yes to this dude, and then I went to that gig and I met this guitar player, and then that guitar player had a gig with this guy, and then this guy knew whatever, and like that, you know.
Yeah.
Fucking beautiful, man.
Fucking A.
That's why I'm so always try to show up on time. That's the
That's
first
right,
rule.
man.
Yeah.
That's my
Be
first
on
rule.
time.
Yeah.
Be on time, and if you're gonna be late, at least let them know.
Please let them
Right.
know.
It's a big part of it, dude.
Yeah.
I got the
It is.
messages to prove it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
See?
right. Waiting for cakes.
Yeah.
Well, happy
otherwise
birthday,
there's
brother.
priorities. There's priorities.
Dude, happy birthday. Thanks so much for coming in,
No,
man.
thank you
I mean,
guys.
this
So
has
thank
been
you
killer.
again.
Yes.
There you go, man.
Enjoy some cake.
All right.
After all our talk about losing weight, this
I
is
know.
what I get.
Hey, man. It is what it is.
Thank you guys.
Get Heavy Podcast. Thanks, Ra, for coming in. We'll catch you guys later.
Yep. Check out Get Heavy Podcast, patreon.com. Check out the mask for sale, bigcartel.com/Get Heavy Podcast.
Yeah,
Rate,
get a
review,
mask.
Listen, get a mask. Hopefully, Corona will be over soon and we'll never have to make them again. That'd be awesome.
Be safe and stay sane, I guess.
Love you guys.
Later.